So, experiment time, guys. Here we are, Alpha Strike. We are excited to review the Xavier School set, X-Men Xavier School. We're working a little bit of a new format this time. We are going to go through the whole set as we always have, every figure step by step. But this time, we're going to have the new player perspective, the neon green noob, as I'm going to call it. That'll be George today.
Woo! Go neon green.
We've got the cool blue casual. That'll be myself. I'll be looking at figures from the casual perspective. And then we've got the magma, or excuse me, the magma meta. Magma red meta. And that's our boy here, Pedro. So
Exactly. Being nasty and
um,
focused.
appreciate you guys tuning in. And we'll have the cards on the screen as normal in post edit, unless you're watching this live by total and complete accident. So,
Exactly.
and then
Hail Hydra.
give us some feedback on this new format. Let me know what you think. If it's my goal was to reach all different levels of Heroclix players, being the new guy, the casual, and the meta scene, and let us know what you think. If it's working for you, if it's not. I'll go ahead and lead us out with 001 Cyclops. Keywords: all new X-Men, X-Men. Real name Scott Summers. Special trait: X-Men First Class. This trait will come up repeated times, and as in the past, we're just going to cover that just once for each rarity. Um, it the trait is if this character makes the first attack during a turn and hits friendly characters with the X-Men keyword, modify damage by +1 this turn. And then he's got a special attack power, penetrating psychic blast. When Cyclops uses it, modify either attack by +1 or damage by +1. His dial look pretty straightforward. 6 range, starts with running shot. Leadership has that special power for 3 clicks. Energy shield deflection, drops into force blast and willpower. X-Men team ability for just 50 points. So overall, I'm looking at this figure that you get the bonuses to pick. I did have a chance to run this with that Pensai. That being able to pick +1 to attack or damage is really paramount. And then the X-Men First Class, if he goes first, everybody's X-Men gets +1 to the damage. George, from new guy perspective, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm liking this because you hit everyone gets a +1 to their damage for the X-Men team. So if you're running other X-Men characters, it's going to be good. It's got the leadership you need, then the +1 to either attack or damage. That's always fantastic. I can give you 11 for 3 clicks or 3 damage for 3 clicks. And it's all penetrating. So, I've played this. I've played 2 of them when we did like a release. So I liked them. I'd probably give this one at least a 5 for a new player.
5 for new player. All right, from the casual side of things, I'm looking at this not a wide selection of keywords, just all new X-Men and X-Men, but I'm an X-Men fan, so I'm really going to enjoy that. Being 50 points, you're going to be able to fill out a lot of these lower point figures in a 300-point game, which could equal a lot of fun, seeing a lot of your favorite figures on the board. In your larger games, though, they're just going to kind of turn into cannon fodder. Overall, great for popper games, and I think I'd give him I'll go with the 6 for the casual scene. How about the meta boys there, Pedro? What are you saying?
Um, I'll try to be positive here. I think that on sealed he might do something. You get some leadership there, penetrating. You actually might get an 11-3 there for 50 points. He might see some action in sealed if it's a common, so it's gonna pop up, right then. Defense a little low. It's a cheap option to call in as an ID, but only if you have a team, with a good teleporter that has a 50 guy, as a kind of secondary attacker. But I would go 6 to 7 on sealed, but only 2 or 3 on constructed. It's not gonna see table for the real teams.
Right, number 2, Marvel Girl. Keywords: all new X-Men and X-Men. Real name Jean Grey. We went over the first trait. Her power ability: strongest mind, telekinesis. When Marvel Girl uses it to make an object attack, either modify attack +1 or increase damage dealt by +1. So this is almost like Cyclops's um, penetrating psychic blast, a +1 to either attack or damage, but she's throwing an object for this. And if I remember correctly, throwing an object for its light is what, a 2 damage
2
already?
damage for light, 3 damage for heavy.
So you could possibly be throwing an object for 3 to 4 damage, or could be throwing 11s and 10s for a couple clicks. Got the. She's also got sidestep, hand side, percentages, energy shield deflection, and support. Support's always comes in handy, especially if you can make it work. That TK is good because it can throw characters. I'd probably say for her, I'd probably give this one a 6.
6.
Mm-hmm.
All right. From the cool blue casual scene, 50 points for TK. She's just never going to stack up to the Fast Forces Jean Grey from Uncanny X-Men. You just get so much more there as far as utility for TK. She's got about the same amount of clicks. She does light up in powers later on, but in the casual scene, I don't know necessarily you're going to see that lower half of that dial usually. TK, being able to be boosted is good, but it's going to be really situational. Again, I'm just going to come back to a 5 with her.
Well, guys,
Pedro?
this one actually, like you said, you already nailed it. You have a lot of better sources of TK on this set, so not even for sealed. If you're stuck with it, yeah, it might be useful, but very situational. It's 50 points, not expected to have indomitable or anything. A little bit fragile. It's almost good at anything, but not good at all. I would have to go 3 and 3 to be polite. But yeah, not hard to extract something from her. Okay, the next one is Beast. Keywords Defender, Scientist, X Factor. His real name is the Hank McCoy, the Handstand Beast. Love that outfit, by the way. He has the X Factor trait, similar to what you guys just said. When he hits with an attack, you modify damage by 1 for each 5 in the attack roll, which is good. He has also on his special movement power, the first 4 clicks, Bouncing Beast, which gives him leap climb. And when he uses it and moves 4 square or less after resolutions, he can make a close attack. He starts with super senses. He's not indomitable nor has willpower at any point. Then his super senses become combat reflexes, and still at 17, where he gets charge and precision strike to 10-2, then 11-2. His last click is actually very good. It would be great if it was the first one, so he gets in there and does his thing. But he starts with Outwit, and Outwit is great. So I'm going to give him some decent points in Sealed, 60 points for Outwit and a few last clicks in a set that doesn't
there,
have...
Pedro.
Sorry.
Slow your roll. Let the casual or the neon green new guy go first.
Gotta let the noob get it word in.
I'm
Jeez.
sorry. I just went for
Magma.
it. I'm sorry. I forgot. Go for it.
It's all right. It's all right.
Way to go, Magma. But
So from a new guy perspective, what are we looking at here?
new guy perspective, for the trait, since it's a new one, +1 damage for each 5 in the attack roll. That's gonna be kind of nice if you come up with 2 5s. That's a +2. Leap climb is good. The outwits will be fun. For new guy, wouldn't be too complicated to kind of get. I'd probably give this one. I'd have to give this one a 5 because it could be, if you get it, great. If not, you can still work with it.
All right. From the casual scene, the fact that he's got Defenders, X Factor, and Scientist. Scientist is a very prominent keyword. You're going to be able to build teams off this all day long. Defenders, we've got a good set of Defenders from Avengers Defenders War. The X Factor trait, I just see this as being fun. Being able to roll those 5s and get additional damage. And then the fact that he can leap climb and then do a close attack, it's a Diet Coke charge. Sometimes it's even a little bit better. Having outlet top dial, I think you're going to get a lot of play and a lot of fun out of this guy for 60 points. And you mentioned that last click. Just for what he is, I can see him landing there often in a casual game. I'm going to give him a 7 for casual. This is a really good beast for casual play.
So sorry, guys. So coming back, I think, like you said, you guys touched on the point. I think that for Seal, he's good. 60 points. Again, we have to remember that Seal, you're not going to have a vast option of picking between rare and super rares. So the core of your team should focus, if you don't get a major tentpole, of the magic and synergy you can create with what you got. He is meant, don't be afraid, he's meant to be close to your opponent, either because super senses will save him or because eventually he's going to land on his combat reflexes. He has where he when he has his lowest attack, he does has close combat reflexes, so he's never going to be a poor attacker. And he has outwit on top click. So those are very good, decent qualities for sealed. For constructed, you're definitely not going to put 60 points on a guy who's going to start on your board. I think we do have a beast ID card. Yep. Or am I crazy? Yeah, so the Beast ID card, in terms of call-in, it gives combat reflexes, so it might be good to have in your teleporter. It's never bad. It's a defense power. But I don't see you calling him as a main attraction. For calling without wit, you have the Lex Luthor, ID card, which is going to give Superman enemy team ability to your team or to people you call next. So I don't see him straight out constructed, but keep his eye on Sealed because he might be the surprise factor there in your team.
Number 4, Iceman. Keywords: champions, defenders, X Factor. Real name: Bobby Drake. We went over the X Factor trait with Beast. We won't go over that. His special attack ability is Chill Out. It's incapacitate with 3 lightning bolts. So that means he can target 3 people. He starts off with burning shot, sidestep, pulse wave the last of his dial, and then he starts off with energy shield deflection, ghost barrier. The last 4 clicks get shape change. Let's see, he's got 5 range, 1 target, so that's going to be pretty decent. But from a new guy's standpoint, the in cap with 3 targets, might be a little new to them, especially with the pulse wave after that. So for a new player standpoint, I'd probably give this one probably a 4. 4, just because the whole in cap.
Okay. From a casual scene, I don't see a lot of people use Incap as one of their main weapons, but this guy, he's going to do it, and he's going to do it well. Except for the X Factor trait can't transfer over to Incap because you're not doing any damage. So if I roll 10 as 5 and 5, but I choose to do Incap with 3 bolts, I've just defeated the whole purpose of one of my traits. So I mean, as far as an Iceman goes, champions, defenders, X Factor, I think those keywords are pretty standard for him. 60 points. I would think for 50 points more, I'm going to go to the Uncanny X-Men Iceman or one of the other Icemen in the set. So, I mean, unless you've got 60 points to fill and looking for somebody to run out there, take a hit, and hopefully not get hit the rest of the game, Iceman would be your man for that. So, I don't know. As far as the casual scene, I don't ever see him really hitting the field. I'm just going to have to give him a 2.
Okay, yeah, I tend to agree. I think you're gonna have very decent other options to call in. Iceman calling in to incapacitate, it's not that ideal. I also think that getting him on the board from a constructive perspective, in the hopes that you're gonna hit incapacitate with 3 bolts, it's amazing. But it's something your opponent will see coming, and putting this piece on the board for 60 points to try to get there, I don't see happening either. I think that for constructed is, like you said, a 3 maximum. For sealed, you might see some action because running shot and 19 defense against range is decent. Then landing close to him will impact pulse wave and shape change. These are all decent, and you even have some last 3 clicks of barrier there, to pull some miracles. So not bad for a common piece to be played in sealed. I would also keep eye on here, especially because sealed you might end up with a lot of small pieces. So three incapacitate might get you a lot of tempo, but other than that, that's the max you can make out of it. I would say 6 for sealed, but 2 or 3 for constructed maximum.
Okay. Up next, we have X-Trainee, number 5, X-Men, real name various, so this is a generic. Trait, X-Student. When this character's or an adjacent friendly's character's attack roll includes exactly 1/5, modify one target's defense by -1. Trait, School for Gifted Youngsters. During force construction, if using the 15-point value, you may not include more than 4 of the X-Trainee at that cost, and when placing characters, an opponent chooses a distinct starting line for each one you included at this cost. So this is similar to the Morlocks from Uncanny X-Men, the Ravagers, the Reavers from
The Guardian of the Galaxies.
So,
Yeah.
So we've got one special damage power here, range combat expert with a range value of 6. So that's a little deceptive because I would be expecting to see that red, but they didn't want you to have a range value for the other 3 versions. So you basically got a turret, sidestep, and close combat expert. So you've got somebody who's going to run in base. Charge and super strength. Again, charge in, hit one good time with a heavy object, and then hypersonic. Just a real straightforward character for 25 points, 15 if you're willing to let your opponent pick what you've got, or you could play a mess of them for 60 and get one of each.
Hearing that now can make sense. So you can have, because looking at this as new player, I see 4 different stats here. So that's what would confuse me. For the 25, you just pick one of the ones. Then for 15, you just,
Your opponent picks one.
So, for new player, that special ability range value 6, new player, it looks a little confusing. I'd probably give this one at least a 2.
2?
Yeah, I mean, sure, it's great clickbait, but it's at least a 2 for...
Just not meant for the new guy.
No.
For the casual scene, X-Men keyword, I'm a fan. The fact that you can run 4 of these for 60 points gives you a good solid swarm team, a wide variety of powers, or you can just swarm them at 25 apiece and pick. It's really straightforward and direct in what you get. You either get a ranged piece, a close combat piece with a little bit of shuffling, a really aggressive charge in super strength, or a hypersonic zip in, zip out character. 10 attacks starting with 2 damage. You're going to be wanting to set them up with some perplexes when you build, but they can definitely help you win a map roll and can really build a good solid fun theme. So as far as casual player goes, I'm going to have to give this a 7 because the casual player I think is going to be drawn to this not only as filler but to help you build out your theme teams and really just have more fun on the board.
It's magma time. Unless in sealed you have 25 points to spare, or you're planning some shenanigans with the guy, Proteus, like you mentioned, Morlock to kill someone quick and get it off. It's a 1-1. It's great. It's funny. It's but not going to strike. No reducers. Not a single defense power. It's going to be a straight 25 points or 15 to your opponent. If your opponent know how to pick, it's going to outpick you on the 15. So, yeah, 15 to put 50 points for Proteus is cheap. In sealed, you have 25 or 15 points to spare, maybe, but other than that, sorry.
Next with X students.
Yes. The X students, very similar. Keywords X-Men, real names are various. They have the X student trait, which is when you hit an attack roll that has exactly 1/5.
Same one.
Exactly. Modify exactly target defense by -1. School for gifted youngsters, the same concept as the X-Trainee. The difference here are the powers. One click has sidestep and then support. The other one is going to have, I always mix them, smoke, force blast, and TK. This one, we're going to talk about it. And TK, then you have mind control, super senses, and you lastly, plasticity and poison. Let's go with the new guy first this time. I got it.
Yeah, you remember neon green. Go magma. All right, going back to the X-Trainee. Kind of about the same concept. I mean, sure, you can kind of pick a different flavor or have your opponent pick by the 15 to be covered. I'd maybe bump this one up to a 3 because it's got other abilities that could be beneficial.
All right. From a casual perspective, this is, the direct counterpart, but now you've got all your support stuff. Yeah, I mean, you've 25 points, you've got sidestep and support with a 10 attack. That's not bad. You've got Force Blast and TK. Again, TK for 25 points on an X-Men theme team. I normally lean on that Fast Forces Jean Grey, but if I only have 25 points worth, this is where I can go. Mind Control with an 11. So I've got a 25-point character that can mind control your biggest guy and make him do work for my 25 points. And since feedback damage is no longer a thing, this is amazing. And then Plasticity and Poison, I'm just going to tax him up, drop him, and, you're not going to be able to go anywhere. Sure, you might club him in one turn, but if you don't, then I'm going to get to poison you. As far as a casual scene goes, again, if you need 15, 25 points of filler on an X-Men team to help flesh out a good solid theme team, this is where it's at. I'll dare say I'll give this an 8 for casual.
I'm totally aligned with you. I think this one, although it's the same mechanics, has a lot more value, especially in sealed, because here you might actually spend 25 points to round up your team. The support, someone who's going to be from the back, or the TK to just push you forward. I completely agree with everything you said. So in sealed, I would actually give him a 7 or 8 due to the flexibility of rounding up your team with that 25 points of the either of the powers in support style that you're going to need. For the constructed, again, it's still good. Maybe if you need support desperately, but you have better sources, we know. But it's again, it's also just as good. You might actually have someone that supports while it doesn't die to Proteus, or a TK even better because you can TK before it dies. So, or even help push it two turns on the TK to help Proteus arrive faster. So I tend to like it even a little bit better. Again, in the constructed only for the purpose of bringing Proteus, no offense, or if you have no other option for TK or support because it's not that expensive for what they bring, but you're gonna have to spend the 25. But in sealed, I like it better because it is good flexibility, all decent powers for 25 points if you can round it up. So I would say 8 for sealed, and good for Proteus, but again, then a lot less for constructed. Constructed, I would go at 3 again. 4 because I gave 3 to the X-Trainee. It's better than the trainee, but not that much better
better
because
than
it's
the trainee.
trainee.
Okay.
Exactly.
Makes
He's
sense.
one step above.
Moira MacTaggert at 007A for all those James Bond fans out there. Yay. Exactly. Keywords X-Men scientist. There goes that, making a scientist theme again. So, real name Moira MacTaggert. Trade ability Headmaster X-Men. Leadership. Period. Perplex, but only to target another friendly character with the X-Men keyword. During force construction, you may include one student ID card on your force without adding its cost. She gets sidestep, willpower, and outwit. She's only 25 points. She does have the X-Men team ability, so that will be good if you're playing, your X-Men team, like beginning Cyclops and Jean. So she gets that leadership. The ID cards we haven't gone over, so new player might be a little confused on the ID card. But the outwit with leadership is good. Perplex is always fun. For Moira MacTaggert 007A, I'd probably give her probably a 5.
5 for that.
Actually, no, I'd drop that to a 4 because on her last click, she's got no damage unless you're able to crit hit.
Okay. All right, from casual scene, again, X-Men scientist. I'm a fan of X-Men. Scientist, a prevalent keyword. You're going to be able to flesh out wherever you need. X-Men and the headmaster leadership, you get enough of these headmasters together, you're removing tokens. I rolled 4 leaderships in one game and just sat there and said, I'm going to take tokens. On top of that, the headmasters, you're going to get an additional perplex. That's 4 perplexes. So just to take an overall account here for your casual scene, you got a 25-point leadership on X-Men keyword and a perplex. You push her once, she goes to outwit. And then you have X-Men healing team ability. This is a great filler for any X-Men team, just because she's going to fill a lot of the needs you need as far as support. Yeah, Glass Josh will go down, but she's going to do some work while she's there, believe me. So for a casual scene, for Moira, man, I'm going to score this high, and I'm going to get flack for it. I'm going to give her a 9.
Ooh, a 9. Okay.
Well, hard to follow up on Magneto, but I'll try. Scientist, X-Men for sealed, I also agree with a 9. Leadership for 25 points. In this set, likely to use her perplex a lot. Being able to push into outwit when needed. I love her just as well. We totally agree, Magneto. A 9 for sealed. Only 25 point. I can also see her working in constructed. Leadership on science teams are great. X-Men just as well. I like her very much, and the amount of control. If you have some finesse to always have one token there to push to outwit when needed, it's great. The leadership is for 25 points is always great. We always talked about Amanda Waller and an Odin and teams you can build with them. Amazing. I like her a lot on both states. She's even better in sealed, but also very worth checking in constructed.
So what was the point value for constructed?
9 and 8.
The number
8.
9
wow,
for sealed, 8 for constructed.
1 for sealed and 1 for casual. Whoa.
Yep.
All right. Up next, Moira MacTaggert, 007B. This is the Prime. Just keyword X-Men. Trait, Pawn of the Shadow King. When an adjacent friendly character uses mind control, they can use it with 3 bolts. Second trait, Arena of Death. And Science! Free, choose a character in your KO area and turn it to a starting click, this game. Choose a standard power that character can use. Moira MacTaggert can use the chosen power until your next turn. So you'll be picking powers. Yeah, choose a standard power. They can. So this is pick a power that will be affected by the latest meta killers. At 40 points with sidestep, willpower, perplex, and basically pick a power based off of what was ever on your team to begin with that is now no longer on your team, and dropping into Pensai with 4 range. Being a prime, this prime ring means that there's something good going on here, that they plan something.
Yep.
Anyway, George?
All right. Well, since you blinded me with science, for those who get that fun reference, the fact that she can, is it any part? Let's see, character in the KO area. So yeah, so that doesn't mean your character. It could also be an opponent's character.
Yep.
Choose a character in the KO area.
In a KO area. Woo.
Yep.
So
I read that wrong. I thought it was your KO area.
Nope.
So I'm actually reading this, liking it. So for me, I'm gonna score this one high as a new player with a 4 range. I'm gonna give her an 8 because the fact that you can not only just pick one of your characters at KO, but your opponents. For a new player, that's going to be beneficial if it comes crunch time.
All right. Well, from the casual scene, being the prime, there are better primes out there for your team. But considering what she does, a 40-point perplex, if you're a big fan of mind control, she's definitely going to help you out there. And then being able to pick a power, in my opinion, is always fun until you run across a Darwin, a Prodigy, or a Leech. But in the casual scene, just to add to the X-Men team, I'm gonna give her a 5. She just lands right in the middle for me. As far as perplex, I would turn to Red Leader. For pick a power, I'd probably turn to Nico Minoru because I can get 2 and I have a little more control over it versus what's in the KO area. But if you need a little bit of the best of both worlds and somebody needing 3 bolts for mind control, Moira's your girl.
Okay, well, in sealed, I think she's gonna be quite decent, especially because you're not gonna have many primes to pick from, and no one else in your sharing your brick will. So I think it's okay. 40 points for perplex, it's decent. I like the sidestep. Her attack values are all decent. On the third clicks, you even get penetrating psychic blast. In sealed, you're not gonna have stupid hitters. Eventually, will one or the other, but the average giving 2 damage or perplexing it to a 3 will do the trick. Yeah, if you can pair her with someone in mind control, then even better. I like the KO area picking up anyone's power from either area. This might come in handy. From the constructed side, I don't know if you can pull any shenanigans with them. Can you do Pogs go to KO areas when they die?
I believe that they do.
Yeah, because if they do, then you can pull out some shenanigans and get the bad ape to give her out with, or penguin pulse waves, and there might be some shenanigans that you can pull out with her, and you're not gonna have an amazing dispute for primes, going forward after rotation because pickup powers are there, and Nighthawk is the only non-pickup power that is a prime that everyone plays nowadays. So rotation comes, she might actually be a decent prime to get there. I would go with 6 on a sealed because you might extract something out of her. I wouldn't rule her out of constructed, but post rotation, I think she's going to be a little bit better, and you can pull out some crazy shenanigans if you're going to play a POG team and make her more flexible. So a 5 for constructed right now, but I would keep her on my watch for the future list. On Artie, this cute little sculpt. He has many keywords: Generation X, Morlocks, New Mutants, and X Factor. His real name is Artus Maddox. He has one trait, which is Ionic Images, which give him mind control. 25 points. He has Shape Change and Tiny. So no reducers, no defense powers. What do you say, George?
Well, for 4 range, he's tiny size. So, as a new player, if I needed to get, that shape change out there, or he's got stealth. Just get him out there for mind control, be carried. Or just, it's hard to say. I mean, that traded mind control can come in handy if you get him close enough, but he is kind of a one punch basically dies if he misses the shape change. New player, maybe give it a 4.
All right, from the casual scene, first thing I look at when I see this is pairing him with the previous Moira, giving him 3 bolts with 4 range. Not to mention, Artie has an ID card, so you can bring him 3 points, drop him in, perplex him up to a 10 attack, target 3 people, make them move, and then attack. It's totally worth the 3 points you just spent to get 3 attacks out of him. That may be a little more on the meta side of things, but from a casual standpoint, looking at Generation X, Morlocks, New Mutants, and X Factor, I'm excited to see Morlocks keyword, mainly because it's not out there very much. I know we have like Storm and the Morlocks and Caliban. It would be cool to see a theme team of them run, if it would work. Being 25 points, just add a quick mind controller to your team or some mastermind fodder is not bad, but I'm going to look at him, I'm going to say, other than an ID card call-in, I'm not going to see people normally tabling him. You could just do so much better for mind control with Professor Xavier, or there's tons of other mind controllers. There's just better Purple Man overall. So I hate to say it, for 25 points already, I got to give you a 2. I don't ever see myself fielding you in casual outside of an ID card.
Time to turn the Colossus acolyte side and say, yeah, I'm garbage all through and through. He's even bad to call Proteus because he has an extra click, so it's one more round to see him through. Shape change is cool, stealth is fun, but they might pull some shenanigans, like you said. But first, in Sealed, you need many combinations, and it's not going to pull the combinations you need. Never plan to go on Seal to play Sealed thinking you're going to get 2 or 3 pieces that synergize well together beforehand. You're going to find that out on your own there, live. Second, 9 attack. With Moira, you can get 3 bolts and perplex. A great idea, but he has 4 range. So your team has to be straight up there in the guy's face to see it work. So, yeah, tough. Not. I wouldn't play it in Sealed. I wouldn't play it in Constructed either. Like you said, if you have some good shenanigans to put as a call in to make the teleporter spin, awesome. Otherwise, nah. 1 and 1 because I won't give zeros
on that, huh?
Yeah, it's yeah, no zeros because
hey, we said 1 to 10. You can't go 0.
Exactly. All pieces deserve their spot in the sun, but this one is gonna be on a very shady corner.
Number 9, Husk. Generation X keyword, X-Men keyword. So there's another X-Men for, Mike's going over there.
Drooling in X-Men.
Real name, Paige Guthrie, excuse me. I don't think we've gone over this trait. It's the Generation X.
Nope, we haven't seen that one yet.
All right. Power. Move up to 5 squares, then make a close attack. Special defense. In case of emergency, shed skin. Free. Choose a standard defense power. Husk can use the chosen power until your next turn. She gets sidestep for first click, then she got plasticity for first dial, and then self for last. That defense one could kind of come in handy. In her first click and last click, she's got shape change. So she could, not necessarily die off the first try, or she might last to at least her last click. But being able to pick a standard defense power for new player, being able to kind of, pick invincible when needed, I have to probably give her a 6 just because of the defense ability alone.
All right. From a casual standpoint, you're going to see a lot of these other Generation X. They have a lot of movement and just being able to run in there and attack people. If you're a really aggressive player, you're going to love the Generation X. And then, of course, X-Men, you got a couple really good keywords to build with there. The fact that she can pick standard defense power, again, pick power to me is just fun. So she's going to fit your theme team. She's going to be a lot of fun to play. Not a real solid attacker for 40 points, so you're looking at using her as a tie-up piece or some fodder and hoping she stays alive.
Clickbait.
Here we go, clickbait. I will give her a solid 6.
Okie dokie. Yeah, I like you nailed it again. I like her in sealed. I think that although we have anti-pick up power characters there, you're not forced to. She has a 7 swing because she can sidestep on her first click before moving the 5 squares to make a close attack. Again, 10-2 in sealed is not that bad because we're gonna see many pieces. We've seen many pieces without reducers, so she can do some damage. Shape change is always great. She's only 40 points, so she can do some damage. And if you don't have a leech or a Dowie in your way, you can also, like you said, survive being a tie up and then hitting on one turn, resting on your invincible, hitting on another turn, or even picking super senses if you don't want to take any damage and you feel lucky. So I like her. In C, I'll give her a 7. Solid piece. Can get a lot out of her. In constructed, unfortunately, she screams, "Green Arrow, please shoot me!" Someone outwit my shape change and get rid of me. So yeah, I wouldn't see in constructed. Fun piece, but might make a difference in seal. But pay attention if people are not picking anti-paps or anti-pickup power pieces. So I would go
All
7
right.
and a 3.
All right. So we're moving on to the Cuckoo sisters. I'll be starting with Celeste Cuckoo. This is 10A. She's the one in red. So we have Phoenix Force and X-Men. I know it's
Ooh.
it's
Ooh.
comic book lore that they tried to get the Phoenix Force. I was really interested to see that because that's not a keyword that they hand out a lot.
No. Last time we saw that was Wolverine the X-Men set.
Nope, there was the Phoenix from Uncanny X-Men.
That's right. Has a
But yeah, I think the next one back is Wolverine the X-Men.
jeez.
And so trait X student, we did cover this. This is when their role includes exactly 1/5. They modify one target's defense by -1. Trait 3-in-1, perplex, but only if a friendly character named Mindee Cuckoo or Phoebe Cuckoo is within 3 squares, and only to target herself. So right there, you've got a trait that doesn't work unless you have one of the other cuckoos you're running with. Special defense power, stop, impervious. Celeste Cuckoo can't be healed. That's the flawless diamond form. Honor Dial, she's the one that starts with mind control and super senses with 6 range. So right there, we're already beating out Artie for twice the points. Drops into precision strike with willpower, and then a stop click at the end with charge and battle fury, X-Men team ability. George?
Okay. Well, the fact that she can't be healed is slightly a bummer, even though she does have the X-Men team ability, but it doesn't mean that she can't heal someone else. And Mike said that Perplex is kind of useless if you don't have the other 1 or 2 to go with it. New player, I'd probably have to give this maybe a 4, just because the X student, we've covered that one, but that's about all I see, is it just being a 4.
All right. From the casual standpoint, if you have all 3 cuckoos to run, this is going to be amazing. You're already starting off with a +3 theme team with a perplex that they have for each of themselves, and stop click characters at 50 points. That means it's guaranteed double tap and then mind control at 6 range. Just have fun. Just start taking over some pieces and use those perplexes where they're useful. I'm going to give her a 7. If you're running her with the other cuckoos, which in casual, I don't think you'd run her without that.
Yep. In sealed, it's okay. I would go for a 5 in sealed. I won't waste my time. You guys nailed it so hard. In sealed, it's fun. 5 works, for her. On constructed, 2 for constructed, 5 for seal, because they are decent 50 points. No particular shenanigans, nothing major she can do. But a stop click with impervious on a 50 points. If your guy go on a sealed for her, she's gonna have to hit her a lot through super senses and through and stop click. So it's great. But on constructed, 2, because they're funny.
So for those of you playing the home game, I want to note that Celeste is red, Mindee is blue, and Phoebe is green. It's like I planned this or something.
True.
Magma, cobalt blue, neon green, giggity.
So Mindee, they work exactly the same. So if they are, her adjacent friendly characters attack roll has exactly 1/5, modify the target defense by -1. The same works concept for Perplex, only on herself. She's within 3 squares of Phoebe in this case, and Flawless Diamond Form, stop impervious, and she can't be healed. This time she has Sidestep, Psychic Blast, and Willpower with 2 damage. Then it moves to Mind Control again, and it ends up in charge. I like her 2 clicks very much for 50 points. Penetrating damage for 2 in sealed is very decent. I would rank her as a 6, maybe a little bit better than the other 5. Her clicks 3 and 4 hurt, but
Neon green. Neon green.
impervious, impervious with Battle Fury for 10/3 on a charge. I like it.
Neon green.
Slow your roll, Pedro.
So Pedro likes to just get super excited and just
Oh,
go
man.
for it. He's
for
just
the-
like the volcano, just magma everywhere. Doesn't care, just
God.
go
We need
for it.
we need we need a different safe word. I didn't catch the neon green. We need a different safe words. Let's go with
Different safe word.
Copacabana.
Pineapple.
Pineapple. Okay.
Oh, pineapple.
Pineapple
Okay.
works. George, sorry.
I'm gonna get like a pineapple picture, and I'm gonna overlay it every time we have to say it. Pedro
Exactly.
just keeps going.
And me crossing the
We'll make it
road.
like Sponge. We'll do it SpongeBob. All right, back to
Sorry.
the neon green standpoint of it. About the same. I mean, the Battle Fury comes in handy because your opponent can't make,
Shape change.
range attack or or shape change. But I'm gonna have to go and just go ahead and give it a 4 because unless you have at least one or both of them, all 3, it's still gonna be about the same. I mean, yeah, 4.
So, from a casual standpoint, having sidestep and pensai and 2 damage with willpower for 50 points, especially since you're not going to run her alone. So, you got that perplex on standby, again, with the stop click. And I'm going to give this number, assuming you're running all 3 of them together because it's casual. I'm going to give her a 7, just because this figure, in comparison with her sisters, is just solid. All right, Pedro. Give us your numbers.
I'm gonna reserve this spot for Mike needed to edit my awful mistakes. So 1 minute of silence for this to be added. I apologize. I think I feel 5 or 6. She's well costed for her points, although she doesn't bring much to the table in terms of sealed. She's well costed. But for constructed, nothing. 2, 3, just for fun. Pick a number. Not gonna see table. Sorry.
Phoebe, neon green. Same as her other sisters. She gets what's that? Mind control for 3 clicks, then charge. First 2 clicks, she gets TK, and then guts willpower, super senses, then their special damage ability. This one, if it's just a standalone character, I'd probably give it maybe a 5 because the TK can always come in handy for throwing one of your heavier guys out there. So, Phoebe, not because you're green, you got a cool name, but I'm going to give you a 5.
All right, from the casual standpoint, again, I'm looking at all 3 of these running together. The TK just complements the set, being able to move them around. Mind control across the board. You're using your opponent's strengths against them. Willpower on this one in particular, and then the previous one, and then even the first one has willpower midway down their dial. They all have a stop click. I see these as almost being a force of nature in casual. You want to run these together for 150 points. Start off with a +3 theme team. It's just going to be amazing. I'm just going to stick with a 7. So we got a 7-7-7 for the Cuckoos.
Lucky 7s. Or is it unlucky? Yeah.
Cool. Well, if you're looking for TK in sealed, we just showed a few better options, especially the ex-student, for instance. So yeah, but here if you're stuck with it, at least don't shy away from it, because although her 3rd and 4th clicks are very meh, stop click with impervious on sealed with Battle Fury, it's always great, and we've seen a lot of shape change. So I would go again for a 5 to 6 on sealed, but nothing on constructed. You have better sources of TK, and that stop click is going to be annoyance, but can be dealt with.
Up next, number 11, Synch, Generation X. Real name, Everett Thomas. He does have the Generation X power, which allows him to move up to 5 squares and make a close attack. His other trait, Power Mimicry and Amplification, free. Choose a friendly character within range. His range is 5. And choose a standard power that character can use. Synch can use the chosen power until your next turn. If the chosen character has the Generation X keyword, he can use Perplex in addition to the chosen power. Real naked dial, just willpower, and 45 points is what he's going to have. He's borrowing from your team. George?
The fact that you can pick, borrow one of your power from, friendly character, and then if it's a Generation X theme, that's going to be kind of beneficial for your entire team if they have that trait. That extra Perplex can help for, let's say, to their damage or their attack. So, new player, it's basically bread and butter for them. I mean, yeah, it's naked, but you know what? Let's give him a 6.
6 for Synch on the new guy side. All right. So from a casual's perspective, again, we're looking at really fielding a Generation X theme team. So I don't understand why you wouldn't run him with a theme team. So you've got the Perplex on your side. The only one we've seen so far is Artie, and being able to pick up Mind Control from Artie with 10 attack and 5 range with the Perplex could really be beneficial for Synch here. Just pulling that from the hip. Depending on what other powers we see in Generation X as we go, he could basically be a duplicate for whatever you need. But unfortunately, it is a standard power, so he's not going to be picking special powers like Hope Summers and be really amazing. But as far as fun goes, I'm a big fan of pick power on the fun side. I'm going to give him a 6.
Okie dokie. I agree completely. I think it's 45 points, has flexibility. Again, in particular shield, you have to be mindful that if you have someone that denies pick a power, it is going to be complicated for you because no reducers and it's a short tile. But he can definitely use willpower to step close to the plate, even be a tile piece. He can copy defenses until he needs to have an attack power decent enough to copy. So it's 45 points of flexibility. Flexibility is always good. He's good for tempo because he has willpower all dials. I would go for a 7 on sealed for sure. On constructed, it's fun, but for 45 points, not going to be a main attacker. His stats are not going to make a big difference. For support, you're probably going to have your points spent on support itself, not needing him again. So, maybe if you want to call him in with some secondary guy because your main guy has pulse wave or something like that, you can replicate a pulse wave in constructed with his ID card, which I think he has one, if I recall correctly.
Yes, he does.
Yep. So
we
and
did also forget to mention that Husk has an ID card as well.
yeah. So it's a student, so there's no inspiration there, but it could be able to do the trick. But again, now you're playing a little bit shenanigans and trying to extract some outside of the box thinking, which I love. But again, it's very situational, so it requires a lot of finesse to extract a little bit more off of him. So I would go, a 4 for constructed with its particular uses, but definitely a 6 or 7 for sealed because in the right team he can copy the proper powers and be a lot more worth it than 45 points.
All right, Pedro, I believe you're up.
Okay, so next one we go. It's Anole. His animal, New Mutants and X-Men for keywords. He's Victor Borkowski. He has a trait with the deck students that 1 of 5 on attack roll, targets defense by -1. He has on his last 3 clicks a special defense power called Reptilian Regeneration, which is regeneration, and when he uses it and heals 2 or more clicks, you can give him a transformation token. These transformation tokens modify his combat values by +1 for each transformation token for 30 points. Mr. George, I won't miss it again, ever.
But we won't get to do the pineapple joke.
I know. What did it say for it?
Let people wondering. We have many clicks to go to.
Yeah. For 0 range, that leap climb is going to be good because it can get him into like hindering or up high. And then for stealth, toughness, that regeneration for him is going to be kind of beneficial. Keeps my life a little longer. I'm going to have to probably give him a 5.
5.
Yeah.
All right, from the casual scene, he has the ex-student trait, which is going to be awesome. New Mutants, first one we've seen, I believe, X-Men and Animal, good keywords. I mean, Animal keyword has become so prevalent lately, and there's so many good things that go along with Animal. For 30 points, he's great filler for your Animal themes. And the fact that you could beef him up whenever he does regen, this may be a little shenanigan, almost on the meta side, but I've considered putting a Possessor on him and having Darwin on my team and specifically clicking him down and then regenning him so he gets +1s, possibly depending on how I roll, and then doing it again and regenning him, and then doing it again, regenning him, and by my fourth turn after clearing, I could have him up to +3s.
Jeez.
Yep.
Top dial, ready to roll.
For all the above, for all the stats. Yeah.
You can also put Peace Machine and put 2 or 3 of these guys there and just watch your opponent cry because he's gonna need a lot of attacks to
I'm
get rid of
halfway
them.
there as a new player.
But overall, other than shenanigans, he's just lead climb, and I don't really see people fielding him for what he can do, other than being in a theme team. So I'm going to give him a 4. He's just a little too niche. I mean, casual will be awesome for your theme teams, but I think you can find more effective pieces for your casual teams.
Cool. Yeah, I like him a lot. I'm not going to be bashed for this, but I don't care. I like him a lot in Seal. It's 30 points for 5 clicks, out of which the last 3 will give you regeneration with the chances of increasing his uh, uh, stats by 1 for each transformation token you get. So at the very least, it's the concept that Howard Brock used and everybody used, but was more prevalent in the finals, that it's point denial. Do I really want to go for 30 points? And do I have to go with everything? Because if I don't see this guy through, he's going to come back. And if he comes back with 2 or more, he's going to come back stronger. So it is your opponent thinking, what is the threat assessment? Do I spend 2 actions to do this? So he's going to gain you a lot of points, a lot of tempo, sorry, and only giving up 30 points. That's in Seal. It's easy to fit. He's a common. Odds that you show up are there. He's not going to do much, but if people don't deal with him, he can become big, and he can even push himself if nobody's paying attention to try to eventually get there. So I like him in Seal a lot. I would go for a 7 there. Of course, in constructed, unless you, like I said, you're trying to build outside of the box team to put some, Peace Machine and try to get a teleporter to roll, and to make sure that you guys have a trouble hitting him or wasting tempo on him. I think it could be a fun idea. Of course, it's 30 points less for you to have a main attacker to deal with the other team, but I think it would be fun just to try. But I don't see this showing up in a very serious team at all in constructed. But in Seal, I like him very much.
So what was the number for your constructed side there?
Constructed is a 3, just because he might have some future with Peace Machine, but on Sealed a 6, 7 more likely, because 30 points to make your opponent waste time with him, it's good.
All right, number 13, Hellion. Keywords: Hellions and X-Men. Real name: Julian Keller. 2 traits. One of them we haven't gone over yet. It's Hellions. When this character's attack roll is 10 or more, damage dealt by that attack is penetrating. The second trait's the X-Student. We've gone over that one. Roll 5, modified target's defense, blah, 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 -1. Special attack ability, push to the limit. Telekinesis, period. When Hellion uses it, you may deal him 1 unavoidable damage. If you do, after action resolve, he can use telekinesis at no cost. You get sidestep for first click, movement's naked after that. Defense-wise, naked for first 2 clicks with willpower and leadership for first 2. I'm liking this one. I think this one could almost beat that Fast Forces Jean Grey. Because that's so. As a new player, I'd probably give this one a 6.
6.
Because of the traded penetrating damage.
Okay.
So he's at least doing 1 at a perplexer. couple influencers.
So from the casual side, you got Hellion's X-Men for your keywords. You know, there's a good set of Hellions in the set, and of course X-Men, very prevalent. If you roll 10, you get the penetrating damage, and you also get the -1 defense if you roll exactly 1/5. So, unfortunately, those two aren't ever going to sync up together. Because if you roll an exact 10 with a 5, the other die has to be a 5.
Yep.
So they're never going to tie up together.
No, but it has 10 or more, right? So you can get a 5 and 6 there.
Oh, okay. 10 or more. Helps if I read. The thing about this TK is that you can bust out 4 TKs from the word go. You got a 40-point team launcher with leadership. Just sit there, just burn them out, and start tossing people. You get your whole team advanced 6 squares, minus Hellion. Well, I guess Hellion could TK himself last. So advance your whole team up there, and then focus on trying to heal him so your opponent doesn't come out and take out 40 points. But he's got a lot of utility there. I had a lot of fun using him. I wasn't exactly sure how to use him first time I ran him. But I don't know. Casual, it's going to be kind of iffy. He is kind of a one-trick pony. So I'm going to have to give him a 5.
Okay. I like him. Yeah, this one of the first real meta pieces of the set. You already touched on the main points why. 40 points for leadership and TK that you can push to use more. Not necessarily the words not pushing, but you can damage to do more. You know, you can put many shenanigans with him. He goes great with Devil Dinosaur because you can push his 3 pogs, and you know, 2 of them can attack. You know, can make the pogs, TK the pogs, and then 2 of them can attack. You can also, if you're very conservative and a defensive player, TK 3 objects into your starting area and equip everybody, because it's 1 action for him to TK the first TK, then 3 TKs for free, and the other 3 actions you can use to equip your whole team with 3 objects if you wish. So for the guys who like to have the TK burst for the Alpha Strike, this guy is amazing. It's like Jean Grey, like George said very well. And if you have someone to heal, he might even be better, because then he can use more times and have someone to put him back on his first click. So I think in sealed, it depends on what you pull, but it's, again, leadership and TK for 40 points is a strong 7, easy. And construction, I think, is going to be a solid 8. Of course, it's situational, because if your team doesn't need TK because it has a vehicle, and I don't see this guy shining on a Shredder's team, but I can see many other teams where he's going to make the difference.
Wow, that's equip the whole team in 1 turn. That is impressive. I hadn't thought of that. Yep. The wind up on equip, just being just like, okay, you get a Mjolnir, you get a crowbar, you get a mirror, we're good to go.
Yep. Nobody steals the objects, nobody reach you in time. Or if you're even more aggressive, TK everybody into the boxing ring, which will have the 3 objects waiting for them, and get them ready for round 2.
See, that's the difference between the meta scene and the casual scene.
And you guys sitting there going, wait, I can do what?
Wait, what?
On 1 go?
Yeah, 4 actions.
So you read that one, right?
Yep.
All right. Up next, Rusty. I have more of these Rusties than I care to count.
There's also an ID card for that one, too.
Yeah, there's not one for Hellion, though.
So you have plenty of them.
If there was an ID card for Hellion. So, Rusty, Mutant Liberation Front, New Mutants, X Factor. Amazing to see more MLF here. Strife finally has some people to run with him. Number 14, real name, Russell Collins. His special attack power on his first 2 clicks, Penetrating Psychic Blast. When he hits an opposing character, give that character a fire token if it doesn't already have one. Characters that have a fire token have, at the beginning of your turn, deal this character 1 penetrating damage. When this character moves through water terrain or clears action tokens, remove the fire token. That's the same trait that Sunfire had, as well as, Firefly and Diablo. If I remember correctly. So feel free to pull out his FX marker, those fire FX markers, if you're running old Rusty here, and help him inherit an FX marker on a common character. Starts with running shot, barrier, sidestep, and then or goes into sidestep, and then energy explosion with toughness, 6 range for 40 points. What do you got, George? The new guy scene.
Well, at first glance, looking at the power ability, it's wordy for a new player at first glance, but if they read it, it's kind of, self-explanatory. Okay, if I hit them with this, they get this. If they do this, they get clear. Okay, so for, new player, I'd probably give it a 7. They might, yeah, I'd say a 7.
Okay. For casual, you've got MLF. I'm dying to see more MLF to run with that strife and just have some fun with it. New Mutants and X Factor. There's a lot of good X Factor teams running around right now, especially with the misprinted keywords for old title Deadpool. And we all will call it a misprint until they fix it. But working as intended. The fact that he can do penetrating Psychic Blast and hands out the equivalent of a FX marker on a common for 40 points, he could really see some good casual play. But unless you're a fan of the character, his sculpt's nothing that great to look at, and I think you could probably find better, at least from the stats value. So unless you're running specific team for a theme, he's not gonna be your go-to. I'm gonna give him a 5 overall, unless you're really aiming down a theme team for MLF, New Mutants, or X Factor.
Cool. I like him. I like him in sealed. 40 points for barrier and penetrating shot that does overall 3 damage. With a 10 swing, 4 for the move, and 6 for the range. Not that bad at all. 3 penetrating damage in seal is a big deal. We have seen this set. Not many invincible, not many heavy hitters. So I like him. It's a cheap option for 40 points. I would give him a 7 actually. I would even go to a 7 in sealed. But for construction, you have so many other options of cheap barriers, and you're not gonna need him as a secondary attacker. It's like you nailed it perfectly. I see him in constructed competitive as you see him in casual. It's maybe a 4 or 5 because he's not bad at what he does, but it's 40 points, no reducers. Anyone can do 4 damage in constructed, with all due respect, which doesn't happen in sealed. So that's why I see him higher place in sealed than constructed. So almost a 7 in sealed, but maybe a 4 because it's not that useless. 40 points for barrier and penetrating is not that bad after all for constructed, but I don't expect to see him much at all.
So just a quick note on the ID card. Good reason to use him. Call him in, running shot, hit somebody pen cipher 2, assign them the fire marker, and at the beginning of your next turn, they take 1 penetrating damage before he disappears. Downside to that, you have to leave a ripe 40 points with 17 defense on the map to get that extra damage.
Yep.
All right. I believe you're up there, Pedro.
Let's go. So after Rusty, we have Skids. Skids.
Mid-Skids.
Yep. The Morlocks or more MLF. Mutant Liberation Front, New Mutants, and X Factor. Her real name is Sally Blevins. She has improved movement, ignore characters. And she has a special defense power on first, second, and last click, which is try and you skid right off. She has barrier and defend. At the beginning of her turn, skids may knock back an adjacent opposing character 1 square. Mr. George.
Look at this. I like when characters can ignore other characters. I call it like the no. Just no. I'm gone.
Nope. Bye.
For 40 points, 2 range, someone might look at her and go, no, but as a new player, I've played her before, so I liked her, but for a new player, they might like it for the barrier, defend, so for skids, maybe a 4.
4?
Yeah.
Well, as far as the casual scene goes, again, wide selection of keywords here. Morlocks, not too much going on there, but could be a lot of fun. MLF, dying to see more of that. New Mutants, very prevalent. X Factor, huge. You hit it on the head, George. Ignoring character bases is something that's ridiculously strong. And then barrier defend with 18 defense. For 40 points, you're adding this to any theme team that you need for having huge defense. You might even throw this on your teams that don't have a theme team, just to have an 18 defend for 40 points and barrier to huddle people in. As far as the casual scene goes, I've got to give her an 8. I've been turning to her way too often to give her anything lower than that.
Yeah, well, you said it. She's a great defensive piece. If barrier and defend is the guy that not only wants the wall there, but if the guy breaks the wall, we still want people to have high defense after that. So she does that quite decently. I think again for shield is okay, but I don't see many pieces here that will warrant you a team that needs barrier, like many hypersonics with long range that will make you go back and forth for her to do barriers afterwards. Her mid dial is kind of lost there because then she gets close combat expert but loses her two defensive powers, so no reducers will make you burn quite through it, especially with the sweet spot when if she takes 2 or 3 damage, which is normally what you're going to take in sealed. So she's going to be right off of her power, so it's very relatively simple to neutralize her in sealed. So unfortunately in sealed I would say a 2. In constructed, again, it's hard because currently you have a lot better options for defend with a shifting focus. Doctor Strange, for instance, has amazing defense. Actually, the Avenger Defend of Wars is the place to go if you need some crazy defender shenanigans or defend shenanigans. And so I would say that for constructed, it's very low. It's a 2, maybe a 3. But in sealed, again, it's okay, but it's very iffy because she can be neutralized super quick. So 3 or 4 in sealed and a 2 or 3 in constructed.
Now, quick note: she does have an ID card call in, so you have one turn of 18 defense for your whole team with a possible barrier, especially if you're just got pushed out. And 40 points is really easy to call in with just about anybody. So she's almost an emergency. I need to defend up for a turn and drop a barrier to make things difficult for you to actually do anything.
Yeah, she's great to
I'm pushed
recall
out.
tempo, like you said. Very well, exactly. She's very good to recuperate tempo.
All right. Number 16, Mystique. Before I read off the keywords and stuff, I do like the sculpt. I have seen her, and I just like the sculpt on this one. But she's got the Brotherhood of Mutants, X-Men, and Spy keywords. Real name, Raven Darkholm / Fox with 2 X's. We've already gone over the X-Student traits. She does have a special damage ability. Posing as a student, shape change, period. If Mystique is adjacent to an opposing character, she can't be attacked by non-adjacent characters. She starts off with charge, blades, super senses, and has blades her entire dial. Midway, she gets stealth and goes into combat reflexes. She also has the X-Men team ability and the Brotherhood team ability, so kind of play her how you want. So she's next to an opposing character. If I'm reading this right, she can't be attacked by the character she's next to. Am I reading that right?
It said if she's adjacent to someone, only people that are adjacent to her can hit her. So everyone else that's not in the fight needs to join the fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, helps with a new player standpoint. For her, I like her. For a new player, I mean, she's got decent abilities. I'm gonna have to give her maybe an 8.
An 8 for a new player with the confusing text.
Yep.
Just gonna roll with it. All right. From the casual side, I played her. I completely forgot about the X-Student trait, but that shape change and being able to base somebody, I love base locking. And the fact that I'm going to base lock, hopefully just one guy and nobody else can shoot me, it's alone time over here. X-Men TA to be able to heal your X-Men. Brotherhood to remove action tokens on 10, 11, and 12. The only downside that I found to her is that you can outwit that shape change until you're down to your stealth. But having blades, charge blades, anybody with charge blade is good. The fact that she can go Brotherhood, Mutants, or Spy, I'm gonna have to roll her out at an 8 as well, just because she's got really great capabilities.
I know I'm gonna preach to the choir since I have the master of the old Mystique in this chat. But everything
she doesn't compare to the old Mystique in any way.
Exactly.
I'm just gonna say that.
But that's exactly my point. If one Mystique was a master of subterfuge and playing around and not being caught, this one has one mission only, which is get up on your grill and nail you down. That's what she was built for, and if you try to play around it, you're not getting the best off of her. Totally agree with you, Mike. I think she's great for sealed because she can get there and do her trick. You're not gonna have a very, outwit is rare here, save for a few pick-up powers, but you can stick to their grill and get it solved. Um, it's a pity that you don't have a call in. Maybe we're gonna have some Conalisa that will do it because, like you said, charge blades and possibly your target will be the only one capable of retaliating on her with shape change and super senses. If you pick the right target, it's going to be a good kill or eventually a hard damage um, without retaliation, and maybe even without real retaliation. We might have retaliations for real if they have colossals there, but I like her. In seal, I think she's strong. It's a 7. She's good. Shape change and super senses is a great combo. She even gains stealth afterward. Her third click is meant for destruction. Brotherhood adds that extra power because if you get that in, not only you're hitting, you're making it through, but you're also having a chance to attack again. I like her very much. In constructed, she would be an amazing ID card, but in constructed, you're expected to face opponents with outwit and characters that can move freely around the board to counteract her. So I unfortunately don't see her seeing a lot of constructed there. To be very honest, she's still strong because 60 points for everything she does is amazing, but unfortunately, I don't see her in constructed very much. With the caveat that there's no ID card for her yet. If a crazy Connelly shows up, I might have to add it and go back and say, great call in.
So are you hinting at the fact that you might know that there might be a Mystique ID card in the
No, I
future?
wish. I wish. I wish. I don't. I don't. If I do, I will. I will.
Next set, there's going to be
I'll
a
sneak some
Mystique
stuffs
ID
here.
card. You just watch.
No. Alpha Strike is known for getting. We got the regeneration right, and many others. So hopefully, with Skids, we watch this one and say, "Yeah, stop the prince. Make a Mystic one."
All right, guys. So that's going to wrap up our commons review. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how we did with this. If the neon green noob from George, the cool blue casual from Mike Nito, and the magma meta from Pedro is working out for you. And if you feel we missed anything on a figure, just put it in the comments and let us know. But until next time, remember,
Strike first.
And strike hard.